Imagine having a loved one and never knowing them, even though they lived in the same exact city. Ritter introduces us to a pair of Baltimore women who went from complete strangers to suddenly sisters.
The word sister can have so many different meanings. A best friend, someone who makes you giddy, someone you can lean on, who brings out the best in you. For many, though, it's someone you can't live without. And for these two sisters, living without has been their reality.
It definitely doesn't feel like we haven't known each other for all these years.
35 years to be exact. Sierra Mason and Kimberly Legree Soleil were complete strangers just months ago, but a 23andMe DNA genetic test changed their lives forever.
I can say a roller coaster ride for me, mentally, emotionally.
For Sierra, it was back in 2019 when she took the popular test seen in ads and commercials, looking for some clarity on her family's background.
Because I wanted to know my ancestry. Never expected to find anyone.
Until this past March.
And then a message popped up, "Hi, I think we're sisters." And I'm like, wait a minute, what?
At that point, the emotions running through you when you get that email.
My heart basically just kind of dropped, and I was in shock. Like, I couldn't speak for a moment.
That message was from Kimberly, who took her test more than a year later, living just 15 minutes away on the other side of the city.
I really wanted to know my ancestral lineage, but particularly from Africa, and I noticed that it said sister, and I'm like, sister?
Your parents never mentioned to you that there was a possibility you may have a sister out there that you didn't know?
You know, they say Papa was a Rolling Stone, so I wasn't surprised in that sense, and that was very emotional, because for one of us, it meant that the life we had known wasn't true.
That reality leaving Sierra with mixed emotions, revealing the man she knew as her dad wasn't.
Extremely happy to know that I have a father who's here, but there still was an emotional loss for me, you know, with the father that I had known.
But the connection between these two sisters was instant and pure.
When I saw her, I mean, we just hugged, and I hugged her kids. It felt like we already have known each other our whole lives, even though we missed, I mean, you're talking about 3 decades.
Just one lunch turned into speaking every day. And from the outside, you wouldn't know they've spent decades apart. From the smiles and giggles to similarities of interest to nearly giving their daughters the same name.
My daughter's name is Ariana.
And you almost named your daughter
Yeah, that
Ariana.
was the name. I changed it literally the day before she was born.
Wow.
And they share a nickname, Ari.
My daughter's name
is
Ariel.
35, 40 years without ever meeting each other. How do you make up for lost time?
You don't. You don't make up for it. You make the commitment to getting to know each other now, being a part of each other's lives now.
I've been on this kind of search for, well, who are you? Who are you connected to? Who are your people? To know that all this time it was so close. Definitely life-changing for me.
In the midst of a rough year for so many of us, these two sisters show there's still plenty to smile about, perhaps warming our hearts when we all need it most.
Is there anything that you want to say to each other that maybe you haven't had a chance to say just yet?
I just want you to know that you are absolutely beautiful, absolutely wonderful, absolutely smart and talented. And whatever has led both of us to this moment, good and the bad, like take all of it.
A lot of strength that I draw from you, and with such a roller coaster ride, it was kind of like you were my seatbelt, keeping me together, so I really appreciate that.
That really is one of the stories you read about and are like, that's crazy, that could happen. Sierra, we kind of touched on this, or we saw this, struggled. She grew up with one family her whole life, found out she had a whole new family. How's that change or transition been for her?
Just think about that and imagine that for a second, and the emotions that must have been running through her. And she spoke about it at length and said it's been tough for her. You know, this whole time she's been trying to find out more about herself, her identity, her family, and see exactly what's going on here. And she said, while it's been great to establish this relationship with her new father, learn about him and new family members and relatives, the current family that she's been with all these years, she says, has assured her that nothing is going to change. They said, you're still our daughter, you're still our niece, we love you, nothing is going to change, you will always be part of our family. So she kind of has like 2 families now, and there's nothing wrong with that.
I was going to say that's the beautiful thing about love and family is it perseveres, it adapts. What are their future plans? Because now they've got bonus family members they've got to learn about and enjoy.
I mean, geez, just the fact that they live 15 minutes away from each other all these years, and they're like trying to make up for lost time now, although you heard them say you can't make up for 35 to 40 years. You just live in the moment and take it day by day. And they are speaking every single day. They have a long text thread. They're constantly in communication. They're in the process of planning some time for their families to meet with each other, their kids to hang out a little bit. And they said they want to plan a sister-sister trip. Maybe go to New Orleans. They're big foodies. Do something like that. So the future, very bright for the two of them. This relationship just getting started, although it seems like they've known each other for so long already.
I love that. Everyone go out there and take your DNA test. Rick, thank you so much for that special story. We'll be right back.